All right, so Jeff Van Gundy did a sit down where he discussed the current Knicks roster. And I usually like hearing from Jeff because he always talks about the Knicks from a team building perspective because he understands the importance of that. And he's even been on record saying that he wouldn't coach the team without him being able to construct the roster. Now, he had a few questions about the current lineup and how some of the effects that it had on some of the players coming back from last year, aka Julius, Randle, and others. You guys check out this segment, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Like, what's being hidden in all this is how does a guy go from third team All NBA? Wasn't he third team Randle last year? Like, what's happened? Like, I just don't know what's happened. Like, you know, his shooting did he make such a jump that this is natural regression? But I don't know. Like, I think they're in trouble. Like,
that's a great question he asked. What, in my opinion, had happened is that the fit with Kemba Walker is just not right. Kemba is not actually setting these guys up. He's just becoming the spot up shooter, and every once in a while he penetrates, but his assists aren't leading up to like guys getting buckets. They usually normally have to make another move and then try to have a shot attempt. It's weird, but once again, Kemba, out of his first 27 games, he's only gone over 5 assists 3 times. So he's not setting guys up. He's taking up usage, so guys have less shots, and you see it trickling down even to RJ Barrett in the beginning of the season. These guys don't really know who to trust and how this offense is really going to be going, aka flowing according to the flow of the game along with other players. Everything is just not in sync right now.
I know everybody raved about, like, you know, their backcourt bouncing back, and again, the coverage of the Knicks is somewhat like the Lakers. It's high or low. It's not very practical.
I might call it hysterical.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And trolling, I'll call it trolling. The media, for the most part, they pretty much troll Knicks fans, or they pretty much down talk them, or when they really have a high moment, they find a way to kind of troll them still. I'm surprised they do that, but that's all particularly trying to sway the fans away from James Dolan.
I just think they're not good. Like, you watch them and they're not a good team. Like,
they're definitely we're definitely struggling and showing signs that we're not a good team because we're heading into February and we're still having games where we win one here, then lose one here, and then we'll win 2 or 3, and then we'll drop the next 2. That's usually the signs that, you know, we're not a good team, and particularly games against teams that we should be winning against, we're not really winning. But it's still early to judge because we see teams like the Hawks struggling, and the Eastern Conference landscape has changed a lot in the past few months.
Yeah, they're not, you know, anytime you're playing, like, you know, their backcourt to me is a Fournier and Kemba. They were brought in there to like jumpstart an offense. And I think it was reasonable. But defensive liabilities are really there. They really need RJ Barrett and Randle to play a lot better. Their center position, if a guy plays 5 games in a row, it's a good thing.
Now that's very big what he just said right there, because that center position is another reason why Randle's not even playing good. There's no real offensive threat at center. When we have Nerlens, Noel down there, he's not really any threat to score. So guys kind of crowd up that area, and that's why Julius can't really get in there sometimes. He's kind of forced to take these jump shots. Once again, the Knicks, it's just the roster fit. It's just weird. But that center position and that point guard position, there's a lot of question marks there, and it's really got to get filled up. And Mitchell Robinson, you know, he's kind of been up and down. Once he plays 5 games, he kind of disappears for the 6th game, you know, ankle injury, etc. As we see right now, especially after coming off that game against the Cavs.
No, I'm just saying, like,
It's true.
And so I think, you know, the one thing I think is good is, you know, Rose is out though now, but I think them trying to put their bench back together, you know, it obviously was good last night, but even against the better teams in the league, the reason they won last year was not their starting lineup, it was their bench. So putting their bench back together makes a lot of sense to me.
That's going to be easier said than done, because right now adding Cam Reddish into that bench, It's very crowded. Quickly playing a lot better. Obi looking like he's coming into his own. When he goes into the lane, he is confident he's going to make that. You know, Obi looked like he wants more minutes, more usage. So things have changed. Guys' expectations and just their confidence is up. So having that bench and just trying to find minutes for all these guys, you got new guys like Grimes beginning to assert themselves. That bench is very crowded. Now you got Cam Reddish. So that's pretty much easier said than done. That's going to be a dilemma that we all going to watch Tibbs kind of handle and how he manages this lineup.
And I think that's their hope. But man, those guys who start, they got to earn their money. They got to play better.
AKA, I would say Evan Fournier got to play better. He's got to be more consistent. He's got to show up on the defensive end. But it is what it is. Jeff Van Gundy is seeing a lot of holes in this Knicks roster, particularly leading up to that center position. That was an excellent point that he made. When these guys play more than 5 games, it's almost like a hurrah moment, but that's not a good thing. And that's kind of forcing Julius Randle to kind of make more moves in the perimeter as other teams make adjustments and crowd up that lane. So he's already having limited options right there. And then the point guard position is questionable because it's not like Kemba is actually setting these guys up to score. So now Julius doesn't have a center that's really an offensive threat. Limited, vision from a point guard that's not really setting guys up. That's why it's kind of clunky with him. And also, Kemba Walker has had a trickle-down effect on their starting lineup as guys don't really know the pecking order. As we see RJ now in the month of January, he's trying to insert himself to be that 1A guy. So we'll see how Tibbs and the Knicks front office kind of rebounds from these off-season mistakes because this Evan fit and this Kemba, it's just not working out. But it is what it is. It's always nice to hear a balanced perspective from Jeff Van Gundy because it's coming from a place of understanding. It's not coming from a malice place where, most media members just want to troll the Knicks fan base or just sway them away from James Dolan.